Hello folks, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the Lumix S1R Mark II and basically my thoughts about it, what are the goods, the bad, and some things that few YouTubers who have reviewed the camera actually talked about when the majority of them didn't talk about. And basically who this camera is for and who is not for. But let's start into the video by going through the specs that I expected, but I didn't talk about them in the rumors when I talked about what it was coming, thanks to what Andrea Pizzini leaked. So let's go straight in it and actually talk about this new camera. And I liked it. Like, I really like this camera. But would it be enough for coming back from Lumix? That is a question mark. Keep in mind, through all of this talk that we're gonna have, that the price point, okay? The price point is really fundamental and important. So in pounds, it's $2,999, $3,299, and in euros, as always, is 3,599. Keep in mind this pricing because all the competitors, if they are not discounts or stuff like that going on, are going to be between 500 and 1,000 or 1,005 euros, dollars, or pounds more. So let's keep that in mind while we're going through these features. So the main features that I didn't totally expect, or I expected, but it wasn't really how I thought it was going to be. And remember, this is actually, all of these reviewers are talking about a beta firmware update. So the firmware updates are going to get better even before the releases. So that's kind of be it. So I'm amazed of how they managed to smash the S1H body with the S5 Mark II and the Mark IIX body together to bring to us a totally new body with new layout buttons and stuff like that. Like, it's amazing. Like, I was mind blown when I saw how much they managed to fit into such like a Lumix S5 Mark IIX body, like. And they managed to fit so much on that body that I was so amazed. Plus the new blocking mechanism that they have, I was just mind blown. So that's one of the things that I really love, the body. The one other thing that I really love are the video, photo, and S&Q switch. How the heck do they fit that down there? I think the GH7 actually has it too, if I'm not mistaken. And it's amazing. And the amazing part about it is that it basically switches between video and photo, and you can literally have totally two different memories, right? So usually you have the custom buttons, you know, on the dial where you can choose between what profile you want to use and stuff like that. And you have like 3 custom modes, and I think now you actually have 5 custom modes. And now you can have basically those custom modes totally independent depending on which mode you are shooting on. So if you are in photography, all these 5 modes are set to be only photography stuff that you will save on those custom modes. If you are shooting a video, all of those 5 custom modes will be set to video. Right, so only video settings. So they are totally 2 different settings now, while earlier what you would do is that even though it's just the diode there, so you will switch the diode and that's pretty much it. Like, there is no different customs. You will custom that to be whatever it has to be, and it will be that. Hope you guys understand what I mean, but it's really cool. I was really amazed. Then the locking mechanism on the left side, that came, I think, from the older body of the S1R and the S1H. So that's super good. And I love how all the ports have their own cover. So that was pretty amazing. While now we all have like this multiple ports, and they are like basically they are sharing the same cover. So now they have different covers, and that's amazing. Now there is this SINI-like A2, which I love, and I hope we will receive it in the S5IIX, which is basically an emulation to emulate the ARRI 709, basically lock color space. So well done, move there. It's free, no payment, or I don't know if they are going to do a payment, if they will allow other cameras like the S lineup or GH lineup to actually be able to have it with the payment. I just hope they will do it free. That would be just a smart move. But I think I will like to have this. If it's not too cost effective, I will actually buy it if they do it, because it looks really astonishing from the images. So I'm really cool with it. The hybrid zoom looks even better than what I thought. Like when I saw the hybrid zoom, I was like, freaking hell, that was so beautiful, because it's using basically this 44 megapixels, so it has way more room to punch in. So I was just delighted and amazed. It was just beautiful. And this new IS function that there is, the cropless, which basically it works only with Lumix first-party lenses, right? And it's even weird to say it, because every time that we talk about lenses that are part of the L-mount Alliance lenses, we always use this thing of like, if you're part of the L-mount Alliance, then you are a first-party lens, but not in this case. So that's a little bit weird. So you're limited only to Lumix lenses, and that means basically through the selection that you have of Lumix lenses, you are limited to those lenses, which it's take it out as you want it to take. And how this works, it's basically using a section that it's usually not used in video, because it's the section where it's kind of compensating for many things that is going on with the sensor. So they figured out an algorithm to actually use that part of the sensor and the image that it's actually not being used. And they basically use this to help you out by not cropping on the image, right? So just imagine it being like the standard, not even the standard, but like kind of a standard stabilization, but no crop, right? It's not, I don't think it's going to be as effective, but hey, I haven't tried it, but seeing what people have been doing with it, it looks damn good. Then there is kind of an improved AF with an AI based implementation, but as for now, for what I'm seeing, it looks more or less like the S5 Mark II and the S5 Mark IIX. So yeah, I'm not pretty sure on like how this is going to be in the future, because this is still based on a beta firmware update. So let's see when it comes out how it's going to be. But there is AI in there, so there is going to be some learning curve going on, and then they will implement more. And that's, we know what, that's Lumix strength. They are good at it, and they are going to fix it if there is something to fix, as they have already been doing during the testing phase with this or other people who have reviewed the camera, which it's really amazing. The HDMI lag has been improved. It's not going to be zero lag, which no other camera company has an HDMI lag free. So it is still there, but it's not going to be as prominent as it was with the older systems of the S lineup. So it's quite good. I think it's pretty much the same as the GH7 HDMI lag is, so that's pretty good. There is going to be the live cropping has been improved because there is an 8K sensor there and not the 6K sensor. So from the earlier live cropping where you will use basically a downscaling mode to 1080p to basically be able to zoom in automatically, you know, you will set it up, then you will zoom in, you will create some nice panning and stuff. Now you will be able to get it in 4K, which is amazing because the live cropping was super cool, but I never really used it because I don't like shooting in 1080p. But cool for you guys who will actually get to use it. Happy for you. And then there is the implementation of Capture One, which is amazing because it's basically going to substitute Lightroom. And so if you edit in Capture One, this will be super cool because you will just basically get your files straight from the camera, straight into the editing suite of Capture One, and you will be basically just editing straight. So it will be super cool in, like, I don't know, you're having a shooting or somewhere and you have your editor somewhere. He will instantly get the picture, edit it, send it back to you, and deliver it to the client. If the client is there, even better. So it's quite a life saving, or not saving, but it's kind of help the quality of life and quality of work to be faster, and it's good. It's quite cool. And then the Lumix Flow Up is one thing. The one thing I've been so excited about since I heard about it, and now that I got to actually even see it, it's amazing. You can't use it in the other camera system yet, but you can use it only for the S1R Mark II, but it's coming for the S5II, the S5IIX, and I believe the GH7. So that is super cool. You can storyboard, you can it's amazing. We're going to talk about it in another video, but this app, it's amazing, especially for filmmakers, because it helps you organizing in real time, basically whatever you are doing. So you are shooting with your camera, you can literally be creating folders or subfolders, select which clip you want to use, which clip you don't want to use, and it will basically order them in two different folders, and then it will even create a file that you can just import into your editing program with all of these files already created for you with the subfolders and stuff. So it's mind-blowing what Lumix is doing, like with this program, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and use it with the S5 Mark IIX, because I'm going to use the S5 Mark IIX this summer to shoot a short movie. So this could be a really cool thing for me to have during that. And then it has been confirmed finally that it's going to have OpenGate up to 8.1K and 7.2K later on this year, and external RAW 8K. And we don't know if it's going to have any slow motion or stuff. We know that the sensor is capable for it, because I pretty much think this is the sensor from the DJI running 4D. But I don't know if I don't know if the processor can handle it. So that is a question mark that we have there. But now let's talk about video specs. And we cannot talk about video specs without talking about sensor readout. One thing, I don't care about the sensor readout as much, because you can perfectly shoot with a super slow sensor and get the work done if you know what you are doing and how you are shooting. But I understand that for many people, the sensor readout being slow is problematic, even though I think there are so many other problematic things in this world than having a slow sensor in a camera. But I understand you. I can understand. Yeah. Anyway, the sensor readout of this camera is not the fast sensor that I thought it was going to be. Okay. So according to General Dan, the 8K sensor with the dynamic, there is the DRE, which is called, I think, dynamic range expansion, which the Ronin D has it too. That's why I think this is the sensor from the Ronin D. But in any case, you're gonna have with the dynamic range or DRE on, the native ISO is going to change by 1 stop. So with the dynamic range expansion off, you're gonna have 200 and 1000 of dual native ISO, which is the most strange dynamic range that you can have, but it's there. And with the dynamic range expansion on, you will have 1 stop, so 400 and 2000. They are low, but apparently this camera has a really good low light until 12,000. So for the videos I've seen, that's pretty much what it is. The readout though, it's what it is. It's probably close or slightly better than the S5IIX. So, but with the dynamic range expansion on, it's not that great. Like in 8K, basically you have a 31 millisecond, and in 6K 6.4 you have 37 millisecond. That's not the best thing you can have, but hey, it's there. You can use it if you want to use it. You don't need to use it. But with the dynamic range expansion off, in 8K, you're gonna have 23.5, basically around the same number as the S5 Mark II and the Mark IIX. And the 6K goes to 27. So yeah, it's not the fastest readout sensor in the world, but in 4K 60, it actually gets really, really good because it goes until 15 to 16 milliseconds. And in 4K 120, which is line skipped, you're gonna get 7.19. So basically, it will be super good. It's Lumix will actually give you the possibility, or give us the possibility to record subsampled instead of oversampled, because all of the frame rates that I mentioned earlier, so the 4K, the 6K, they are all downsampling from the 8K sensor, and you don't have any possibility of basically not downsampling, right? So to get basically a normal 4K and not an upscaled version of that 4K yet. And what I really loved, that it looks like the 4K 60, because the 4K 60 is still oversampled, but they still managed to get 16 millisecond. So I don't know how they did it there. It's not 8K oversampled. I think it's between 7 and 5K oversampled. It's not completely clear because everyone is giving different numbers, so I didn't really understand. But yeah, the sensor is not the fastest sensor out there. So while I was recording, I came across a part of my list of things that I totally forgot about. So there are a couple of things that I think is really important to say. So the USB-C recording, because you are able to record USB-C to an SSD. So that there are a couple of problems with that, or limitations with that. So you can't record more than 4K when you are recording through an SSD. You can record only until 4K 120, but you have to change the battery to be able to record in 6K or 8K to be able to record to SSD, or you have to use a dummy battery, but then you will need a power delivery of about 9 volts to 3 amperes. So that is pretty much what you need, and the limitation with the USB-C. Then there is overheating that I forgot to talk about. So according to General Undan, there is a little bit of overheating issues in 8K. Then Josh Cameron 2 but then the camera never shut down on him while he was having the overheating prompt. But then another YouTuber actually was testing it. I was actually just watching his video, which is one of the last video that I had left to watch, because I've watched all of the videos, I mean all of them. And yeah, Jason Morris from Australia, which is pretty hot there, he was filming his review, and basically the camera stopped working for him, but it's because he forgot to set the camera threshold too high. So yeah, so there are maybe some overheating limitations and stuff like that, but it's gonna be manageable. It's obvious that this camera body is small and it doesn't maybe have the full power to be able to make you do longer formats of 8K. I mean, people have recorded for more than 1 hour, so I don't even know where you're going to store more than 1 hour 8K file, but hey, up to you to do that. So that is pretty much it. And one really important thing is about the AF. So you are going to use the subject tracking when you are shooting more than 60 frames per second in all modes. I'm not sure about HD because nobody, of course, is talking about 1080p HD, but in the 4K, in the 5K mode, in the 6K, and in, there is no 8K 60, sorry, but in all the other modes, you are going to lose the subject tracking like in the 4K 120. I'm not sure if it's going to be based in contrast based, but I don't think so. I think you just lose the subjects, but you still are using the phase detect autofocus without the subject selection. But I don't know if this is going to be a fix in the future firmware update or so on, but yeah, I think this was important part that I totally missed and totally forgot because I was going through my whole list pretty quickly because hey, we are all busy in life and we have to get things done, and yeah, I messed this part up. So let's go back into the video and continue with my thoughts. But that doesn't stop you from shooting, right? Because we have been all using, before sensors got faster, we were all shooting in pretty slow sensors until now. So I don't think this is a factor to call this camera trash, as I've seen in many reviews comments. But I think that this camera, it's a really good starting point for Lumix to then develop on it to create even something more astonishing and beautiful. This is the first 8K camera from Lumix, and this is the cheapest 8K camera available at the moment. And you're gonna have open gate in all flavors, slow motion maybe, we don't know yet, but you might get it, you might not get it, I have no clue. But you can still shoot 5K, almost 6K, 5K.8 I believe, and 5K.9 up to 60 frames per second. So I don't know what people are really complaining about out there. You don't need to buy it, it's okay, nobody is going to force you to buy it. But calling it trash, this camera, I think is a bit excessive. You might not have the faster sensor, but that's why you pay the premium to get other cameras, right? So nobody is asking you to buy this, but it's an amazing camera for the price that it comes in. There is no other camera in this price range. Like, that's the thing with Lumix, like where they position their camera to be in the price range, there is never a camera that is able to keep up with the features that Lumix deliver in that price range. Am I gonna buy this camera? No. Already from earlier, I already said it, I'm not interested in it. It's super cool, but it's not a camera that is meant for me. And I'm just looking for the S1H Mark II, because if this is what Lumix is able to bring, I am so excited on what they will do with the S1H Mark II, because that's the camera that I'm waiting for, that we are all waiting for. But who this camera is for, this camera, I think, is not really for people who already own a Z8 or a Z9 or a Canon R5 Mark II. But I think this is a camera for people who are trying to get an 8K camera or a fast shooting camera, because this shoots up to 40 frames per second, but someone who is trying to get into a new system but wants a high megapixel count, or people who have already the S1R Mark I and they are waiting for an upgrade for this camera. And here they have it. This is an amazing hybrid camera. In my opinion, we have to understand basically what the values of a camera, of this camera, and the value that this camera brings. It's a lot. And we have to understand that there is no camera that will give you the features that this camera gives you if you don't pay the premium price, in my opinion. But as I said, it's not a camera for me. It might not be a camera for you. If it's not a camera for you, it's just not worth it calling it trash. You just say it's not a camera for me because it's missing this, it's missing that, and it's missing this. That is a constructive feedback. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, if people don't have constructive feedback, there is nothing for a company to build or grow up from, you know? It's just gonna be a chit chat and a throwing trash, and then you leave. This camera is an amazing camera. If I manage to get my hands on one, I would love to test it. But buying it, no, I will probably save my money for the S1H Mark II, because that is what I'm really looking forward for. But thank you for sticking here and to listening, blubbering as always. Take good care of yourself, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.